things. I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you to be, there are no grades in this class. I will give homework, but the homework is for you to practice the things that you're learning in class with me. I only get you for 2 hours. Everybody did sign the sheet up at the front of the desk? Okay. I'm going to email all of you at the end of each day, each class. May not be until the next day, but you will get an email from me with all of the videos that we're going to use. Every video, every class is going to have videos attached to it, and it's not because I don't want to teach it to you, but you guys live on TikTok. You watch videos all the time, and sometimes it's nice to be able to go back and rewatch something, especially because I'm going to give you so much information. So if you're having trouble with anything, you're going to have my personal email address. Before the night's over, you're going to have my phone number. And you can text me any questions that you have. You're working on something, you're feeling frustrated, you don't remember something that I told you, just text me, and I'll get back to you. I do work a regular full-time job, but I pretty much have freedom to be able to text. I can't always talk on the phone during the day, but in the evenings, you can reach out to me as well if you want to. While you're eating your pizza, we're going to watch a quick video, and you're going to use this video to actually fill out your name tags. Everybody's going to put their name on their name tag, but you're also going to create your name sign, okay? And so this is going to be the first attempt. There's no right or wrong. You're going to see, I saw this video, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I actually just saw it over the weekend, so I just thought it would be something really neat for you to come up with your own name logos, okay? So it's a quick, short video. You're going to watch it, and then while you guys finish up eating your pizza, you're going to put your name and your name logo both on your name tag, and you're going to put it on your name plate, okay? Everybody has a name plate in front of them. M-A-T-T-H-E-W. If you're getting ideas, you have blank paper in front of you, you can practice before you put it on your nameplate. And before you put it on your name tag, you can mess around with it and try. Oh, there's Facebook. Sorry, it's an ad. One of the reasons that I make the suggestion of watching this video and coming up with your own name logo is because all of your artwork, you don't want anybody else to take credit for it. So instead of maybe using your signature, which I've always used my signature. I thought this was a cool way to be able to incorporate and create your own brand. I have a friend of mine who did something similar to this. His name is Anthony Michael Iosa, and so he actually mixed all of the letters together, and he does woodworking projects. And so he actually went to a metalsmith and had the logo made out of metal, so he could heat it up with a torch and he branded all of his work. So this way, all of these really nice pieces that he makes, nobody can say that they did it because it's his logo, it's his brand, it's his trademark. That's that. So you're gonna see, I made mine over here. I wrote Kim, but then I wrote the K-I-M. So that's just K-I-M. So it can be as elaborate or as simple as you'd like it to be. And you don't have to, if you need extra time, just by the end of class, make it a goal to come up with something that you're happy with, and you're gonna keep messing with it, okay? So while everybody is eating, I'm just going to take attendance. I'm going to do attendance every week. And like Warren said, we have a contract and it's an agreement that you guys are going to make. I'm making the commitment to come and be here every Monday. So we're expecting you to make the same commitment to be here. So we're just going to take attendance real quick. This is a way for everybody to kind of get to know each other. I'm going to say your name. And what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to tell me your favorite color and what school you go to. Okay? Nothing too hard. So the first person is Elena Jacobs. Go ahead. What's your favorite color? Red. Torrington. Okay. How about Alexandria? Hi. How are you? Take your time. We'll come back, okay? How about Amaria? Amara. Okay. Amara, what's your favorite color? You have to talk fast so everybody can hear. Purple. Okay. And what school do you go to? Okay. Amaya.
My favorite, I don't have a favorite color, but I go to Memorial.
Memorial? No favorite color? Is there any color that you prefer to wear? No, you wear all colors? That's awesome. I love it. Don't see here. Cheyenne.
Here. My favorite color is purple and I go to West Side.
Ayana? No? Keith? No? Okay. Jalissa?
I go to Water Arts Science School and my favorite color is purple.
Jaylene?
color is pink and I go wings.
Awesome. Mariana? Mia?
My favorite color is light blue and I go to Catholic Academy.
Michaela? No? Naya? Naya, what is that? Oh, it's missing the L. Whoever filled it out, Mr. L. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is red, and I go with
Okay. Alexandria, what's your favorite color?
Brown.
Brown? That's a nice one. It's a nice neutral color. And what school do you go to? Canner? Awesome. So you'll notice that there are people that aren't here tonight. We may have a few new faces next week because there is a wait list for the class. So this way we can get we'll end up with a few more people in the class for next week, okay? But for now, once you finish filling out your contract, just leave it up at the front of the desk so we can collect that, okay?
at the sign. At the sign. And then,
Oh, they're just gonna, okay.
and some of their parents didn't sign either.
Yeah. Okay. So, let me know when everybody's ready. Once all the contracts are turned in, we'll actually start class. Just in a couple minutes, we'll get it started, and your first drawing assignment is going to happen during the video. If anybody's pencil gets dull, just let me know. I have a pencil sharpener and I'll just bring it over to you, okay?
It's heavy. And I know she said I had to go to this one. Where did the child? Huh? You really go to that. Yeah. You can know that. I think it's so I don't know. Interesting. Why we got oh, Mr. Slay. Well, she wants to like. Sorry.
You're gonna put your name and your symbol. That's a sign at the bottom.
Oh, over there.
He's like, so. Here's a pencil paper. Okay. So you can practice on this piece of paper. This is what we were doing up on the screen there, okay? And then you can write your name on it, and then write your symbol. And you're gonna do the same thing with this piece of paper, your name and your symbol, okay? All right, are we in good shape? Can I start the next video?
You don't.
All right. Oh.
She's like, yeah.
Okay, so this is class 1, and today we're going to be talking about shapes and shading, okay? We're starting with the very, very basics. I know that you know what a line is, but we're going to start with the very, very basics because everything in art is based off of a line, believe it or not. Everything is. And so we're going to start with the basics of a line, and we're going to move on from there. How many people are excellent drawers? Okay. How many people think that they're horrible drawers? How many people think they can't draw at all?
Elena.
So, I can promise you, what if I told you in 15 minutes, you're all going to be great artists and cartoonists? In 15 minutes. Okay? You can all draw cartoons in 15 minutes. Okay? We're going to watch this video. Okay? And what I'd like you to do is your first assignment is to flip over the paper that whatever you've been working on, flip over the paper. And you're going to follow along, and whatever he tells you to do, you're going to follow along and do. Okay?
Hi, I've got a question for you. How many people here would say they can draw? Well, I think we've got about 1 or 2% of the hands going up. And it's interesting, isn't it? It's a little bit like people think of spelling or singing. They think, well, you can either do it or you can't. But I think you can. Because when people say they can't draw, I think it's more to do with beliefs rather than talent and ability. So I think when you say you can't draw, that's just an illusion. And today I'd like to prove that to you. Now, one when I say draw, I'm not saying we're all going to draw like Michelangelo. We're not going to be painting the Sistine Chapel ceiling. But would you be happy if, by the end of this session, you could draw pictures a little bit like this? Or even a little bit like this? Well, actually, there's only two things you need to do to be able to achieve this. One is have an open mind. Are you up for that? And two, just be prepared to have a go. So grab a pen and a piece of paper. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. I'll show you the first cartoon we're going to do, so just watch to begin with. Here we go. Just watch it. That's going to be our first cartoon. It's a character called Spike. So I'd like you to draw along with me. So I'll draw the first line, you draw, and when you've done that, look up, and I know you're ready for the next line. Okay.
Follow along and do what he does.
Start with the nose. Now, the eyes, they're like 66s or speech marks. That's it. Next, the mouth. Nice big smile. Now, over here, the ear. Next, some spiky hair. Next, put the pen to the left of the mouth. Little line like that. Pen under the ear. Drop a line like that. Pen to the left of the neck. Top of the t-shirt. Line to the left. Line to the right. Just hold your drawings up and show everybody.
Hold them up.
How are we all doing? Okay.
It's pretty much like it, huh? Well, don't worry, we're going to do some more.
Okay, fantastic. So, it looks like you've just learned to draw one cartoon, but you've actually learned more than that. You've learned a sequence that would enable you to draw hundreds and thousands of different cartoons. Because we're just going to do little variations on that sequence. Have a go at this. Draw along with me. Nose.
Follow along.
Smile. That's it. Now some hair. Pen to the left of the mouth. Under the hair. Little V shape to the top. Line to the left. Line to the right. So we've got another character. Let's call her Thelma. We've got Spike and Thelma. Let's try another one. Here we go. A couple of little variations. Getting the idea. Starting with the nose. But this time we'll change the eyes slightly. Look, two circles together like that. That's it. Then two little dots into the eyes. And this time we'll change the mouth slightly. Watch. Little circle coloured in there. Have a go at that. Next, the ear. Now we'll have some fun with the hair. Watch. Nice curly hair. Then same thing. Pen to the left of the mouth. Line like that. Under the ear. We'll do one more. One more go. Here we go. You're getting the idea. So we'll start with a nose again. Notice we're doing little variations. Now we'll change the eyes so we've got them apart, and we'll put some little dots in like that. Next, The man's slightly different. Let's put a little V shape. Triangle. And a little line across, we'll just colour this little bit in. Now watch this bit carefully, some hair, watch. Here we go, little line right there. Next, a bit more there. And what, a couple of triangles. Make a little bow. Triangle at the bottom, left of the hair. Pen to the left of the mouth again. You get the idea. Drop a line to the neck. Another V shape. Line to the left. Line to the right. There we go. Let's call it Pam. So you've done 4 cartoons. You can have a little rest now. Take a rest. You're getting the idea. All we're doing is little variations. We could go on. I'll just demonstrate a couple to you. We could go on all day, couldn't we? You could do someone looking unhappy, a bit like that, or you could experiment with perhaps someone who's draw a straight line. Someone looking a bit fed up, or perhaps you can do anything you like, really. Just try things out. Look at this. Little squiggle. There we are. So all sorts of things. Actually, one more idea. This is a great little technique. Have a go at this. People with glasses on. Just draw a nose a bit like Spice. Next, draw some frames. So 2 circles like that, with a little bit in between. Now, just put some dots inside for the eyes, like that. Next, the ear, so a little bit like we did before. This time, we'll join up the frame. That's it. Watch this bit. And this bit I really like. Watch. And then, a little bit there. Pencil under the moustache, line down.
Under the ear.
Top of the shirt, left and right. So there we have it. We could carry on. Hopefully we've done enough to convince you that in fact we can all draw. And not just people here. I've worked with, I'm going to give you 3 examples of other people who've learned to draw, and they're actually surprised them too. And I'm going to say that what I think is my favourite, most surprising example until now. The first example is I've worked a lot with children and students in schools. And actually the little ones, they just draw fine. But when they get to about 15 or 16, most of them think they can't draw. But I've worked with them. I worked this week in a school where I was coaching them on using pictures for memory. And a girl was trying to remember what red blood cells do. And she drew this little picture of a red blood cell carrying a handbag with O2 on it to remind her that the red blood cells carry oxygen to all parts of the body. It's a great one. The other people I've worked with is many adults in all walks of life and in business. And they often will want to make presentations memorable. So again, a quick cartoon or a sketch could be really good for that. And again, most people think they can't draw, but take this example. The way we like. Could represent, it would be a metaphor to represent we're all in this together. So that, if that was just drawn in a presentation, would really stay in the memory, wouldn't it? But the third example is, you shouldn't have favourites, really, should you? This is my favourite. Have you ever been at a party where someone asks you what you do? You get a bit sceptical when people ask you that. And they said to me, well, I said, well, I do a bit of training and I teach people to draw. And she said, would you come with me and do some for our group? She said, I work with some people, she's a volunteer, a group of people who suffered strokes. So I said, well, I'm sure I could, spare some time for that. So I said I would, and I booked a time in. Have you ever done that? And you get near the time and you think, what have I let myself in for here? Will I be able to do it? I thought, what could I do with it? He said, I know. I'll do my cartoon drawing, I like that. But then as I got nearer the time, I got more and more apprehensive, because then I was thinking, well, I've worked with children, I've worked with all sorts of adults, I've never worked with a group like this. And it turns out it's all part of a charity called Talk. And this Talk charity is a wonderful charity that helps people who've suffered strokes but have a particular condition known as aphasia. You might have heard of aphasia, sometimes called dysphasia. And the key thing is, it affects their ability to communicate. So, for example, they might have trouble reading or understanding. And it can be quite an isolated condition. It can be very, very frustrating and can lead to a loss of confidence. Anyway, I prepared all this stuff, went into this session for a couple of hours, tea break in the middle, you know. And I'm going to show you the first slide. And I taught the spike, just like I did you. And I want you to see the reaction on their faces when they did this. What you can see here are two of the stroke recoverers on the left and right, and one of the volunteer helpers in the centre. And each stroke recoverer, there are about 36 in the room with volunteers as well. It's one-to-one helpers. And you can just see the delight on their faces, guys. Let's look at another one. This is a gentleman called David, and he's holding up this picture, and you can tell it was the picture of Spike, can't you? In fact, I think he's drawn Spike even better there. But what I didn't realise until even after the session was that a number of the people in this session, including David, were drawing with their wrong hand. David's stroke meant that it affected the right side of his body, and he drew with his left hand, as many did. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody complained. They just got on with it. And it was an inspirational session for me. It was quite a humbling session. It was one of the best things I've ever done. And at the end of it, I had a lovely email from Dr. Mike Jordan. He's the chair of the Talk group, happens to be a medical doctor, he's the chair of the group. And he wrote to me, and I'm quoting, he said, "Our recoverers learned today that they can draw." He said, but more than that, this sort of activity really builds their confidence. So I was happy, he was happy, everyone was happy. They've invited me back again, and I go in there now about every 3 or 4 months. So it's great. So I thought that was a lovely start to the show. Let's see one more drawing. Here we go. Grab your pens. Here we go. Right, I'm going to get you to draw someone that you would recognise. So, start with a big nose, a bit like Spike's. Next, we'll do some eyes. And you might be thinking, this is also a bit like Spike. What's the next bit? Getting warm? There you go.
She said Dr. Phil.
Line down there. Down here. Little V shape. Line to the left, line to the right. Then you've got Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
So, you've got the pens with you. You've proved that you can. You've proved that you can draw. You're very welcome to take the pens with you and have a practice at home, even show somebody else. But actually, I'd like to leave you with a final thought. When you walked in here today, many of you didn't believe you could draw. And, I've got a question for you about that. How many other beliefs and limiting thoughts do we all carry around with us every day? Beliefs that we could perhaps potentially challenge and think differently about. And if we did challenge those beliefs and think differently about them, apart from drawing, what else would be possible for us all? Thank you very much.
Do you like that one? Yes. How many people saw the beginning artwork and said, "There's no way I'm making that"? Hold up your pictures. Let me see them. How many people got surprised by how well they could do by it? Huh? Were you surprised? They look like characters from Phineas and Ferb. They do. Some of them do look like characters from Phineas and Ferb. Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good, thanks.
My daughter was supposed to be a part of the class, but she has basketball. My wife said to stop on.
Oh, yes, just give me, do you have a couple minutes?
Sure.
Okay, let me just, go through this part, and then I'll be right over. All right, so, all of those pictures that we worked with just now were all just different types of lines. There's parallel lines, the vertical lines, sorry, they're straight up and down. We have horizontal lines, diagonal lines, zigzag lines, curved lines. Now, I'm going to give you a lot of information right now, and over the next 8 weeks, you want some place to be able to keep it, right? So I've got binders for everybody. So, who said their favorite color was purple? Uh-oh, I only have 2. You gotta play rock, paper, scissors or something. All right, so I've got purple, I've got green. Anybody would rather a green one? All right, you guys gotta fight it out. Who wants it?
I'll take a blue one.
Okay, there you go. Who wants a green one? Who wants an orange one? You're gonna have to pick one of them. I only have so many colors. The dollar store only had a few. Who wants a red one? Uh-oh, there's 3 reds. I only got 2 reds. Oh, you want an orange one? That one. There you go. All right. Which ones do you want? Red? All right. You guys gotta duke it out. Oh, okay, there we go. See? Compromise. All right. So now, everybody, that's what I got left. I've got 2 blues. The gray one. All right, got green, orange, or blue. Well, somebody back here, I saw a hand for blue. You said blue. Huh? You guys are all so good. All right, green or orange? Light orange? That orange? All right. All right. Everybody's got one now, right? Yes. All right. Okay. So open up your workbooks. Okay. These are yours to keep. These are yours to write all over, to draw all over. They are yours to take notes in. You'll see the first page. You're gonna want to fill out your information. Okay, so this is when somebody leaves their book behind at the end of class. I know who to come after. So put your name, your email, and your phone number for me, okay? Yes.
What's his email?
If you don't have email, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Just put your name. Okay? You can take the paper clip off. Everybody got a paper clip? I like paper clips because I keep everything together. So I made sure everybody had a paper clip, so you can clip it to the front cover of your binder or the back cover, and then this way you're able to keep the lessons and the pages together. Okay. Very first page of every lesson is going to have a vocabulary page. Your vocabulary is not filled out because I want you to put the definition for what you interpret the lessons, the words to be. Okay? So I just went through and I just told you about vertical lines, horizontal lines, diagonal lines, zigzags, and curves. So what is a line? You're going to put what you think a line is. Okay? Our next video that you're gonna watch gives you a more formal definition of what a line is when it comes to art. This again, you don't have to put everything, this isn't school. This isn't meant to be hard work. This is just a way for you to keep track of notes and to learn the information, the way that you learn things, the way that you interpret information. Everybody learns differently. Everybody understands information differently. So that's why you're gonna have a lot of empty workbook pages that are there for you to fill out, okay? So as we're going through today's class, you're gonna hear all of these definitions, all of these words, and you're gonna put definitions in. Or you're gonna put drawings in. If you don't wanna do it with words and you wanna do it with just pictures, you could do that too, okay? I will tell you when we go on to each exercise, the one rule I have is that please do not go ahead in any of the exercises because it will give a little bit of a direction, but it's not the full directions. And we're gonna be using the videos, as I said, we're gonna be using videos so that you can learn the information here, but you can also review it at home. So you can go back through during the week and you can actually practice the skills more. The videos that I found are tutorial videos on the different aspects of art. And like I said, I find that by using videos, you guys live in a video world nowadays. So you don't want to hear me talking to you for 2 hours because that's what you go to school for and that gets boring. So I want you to be able to get information from other people, okay? So the first exercise that you're going to do is exercise 1. And you're going to draw different types of lines, okay? You're going to work on exercise 1 while you watch the next video.
Did you know there are 7 basic building blocks of art which can be found in every single artwork, whether you tried to put them there or not? These 7 building blocks are known as the elements of art and design, and today we'll be taking a look at the first and simplest element, line. Hey, welcome back to Mr. New's art class. It's wonderful to see your smiling faces today. If you've ever been in a math class, you've no doubt been taught that lines have to be straight and they go on forever. That's true for the mathematical definition, but this ain't math class, it's art class. When you're in math class, do what your math teacher says. When you're in Mr. Different types of lines, how different artists use them in different ways. First, lines can go in different directions. The 3 main classifications for direction are horizontal, sideways, vertical, up and down, or diagonal, anywhere between horizontal and vertical. It's important to note that diagonal lines can go in lots of different directions, so you often have to be more specific when talking about them. Next, lines don't have to be straight. They could also be jagged zigzags with pointy tips, or wavy with smooth curves. This well-known logo design for the Nike brand uses a single curved line to express an upward movement. Often, lines can even loop over themselves or overlap under other lines. There are many different ways that lines can intersect, such as the way that we draw different letter forms. Yes, drawing letters is a form of art too. Another way lines can be used together is to make them parallel. In math class, there are very strict rules about parallel lines always being straight. But in art, we have the flexibility to say that wavy or zigzag lines can also be parallel. Parallel just means that they go the same direction and follow along each other's path, such as the zigzag lines on top of this pole painted by Bridget Riley. And lines don't always have to be the same thickness either. Using different line weights or thicknesses is crucial for creating depth in line drawings or doodles. Line is considered to be the simplest element because it's often the first that artists learn about when learning to draw. Like you see in this Van Gogh painting, most artists start their work by drawing the outlines and contours of the objects within their image. However, many artists choose to subdue these lines or eliminate them altogether, instead using the other elements such as color and value to create the barriers at the edges of objects. Even so, anywhere that two objects point towards each other or have any kind of barrier between them, viewers' eyes manage to imply the lines that aren't really there. Lines are most commonly used either by themselves or mixed together to create shapes, which are the next element that we'll discuss next Thursday. Lines can also be used as hatching or cross-hatching to create different values, which we'll cover in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, try practicing all the different types of lines we've talked about here today, and see if you can come up with any that we haven't talked about. And most importantly, study your own artwork and the artwork of others to see how lines are used in different ways to create different effects. If you liked this video, did you know there are
All right. So Mr. New is one of the online teachers that I'll be using. I like the way he explained the information. I thought it was useful, and he didn't give me a ton of extra stuff, and he wasn't too quirky and silly. What do you guys think? You did? What'd you learn?
I learned that zigzag and laser lines are two different lines.
Oh, okay. What's the difference?
One has sharp edges and one has like smooth edges.
Anybody else learn anything? Anything you didn't already know? Zigzag lines or lines? What'd you learn?
I think lines can be considered like a basic unit of like our everyday life, I guess.
Yeah, you don't think about it, do you? Look around the room. There's lines everywhere. Everything is made of a line, even your name, right? Yeah, your name is made with lots of lines. Oh, we got a paper towel right here. That's it. Okay, so parallel lines. Parallel lines are also, will also be done with cross-hatching. They create texture, volume, shading, and the closer together they are, it seems to be. It creates shadows. These are parallel lines. Do you see the difference? They're all made with parallel lines. So you can use parallel lines for shading to make something like this. Wow. That's done by using just lines. There's no dark shading done. Parallel lines can also be used to put together something like this. This is a very complicated picture, but it's all done with lines. Here's parallel lines. Here's parallel lines. They're all parallel together. This is a great example. We're going to look at this picture again next week because this talks about proportions and perception. Okay, and so that's going to be what we work on next week. But you can see your vantage point. There's a courtyard back here. And there's a tree back here. And there's trees over here to the side. And here's the roof. And the tiles here appear to be bigger than the tiles back there. And here's the corner of a building. And the pillar. These are both pillars. They both look different sizes though. But they're done with parallel lines. So, lines can have variation. They can have different lengths. They can have different widths, like Mr. New talked about. A weight of a line is how thick it is. So the weight of when you have the weight of a line, it can have a thick weight or it can have a thin weight. Has anybody used Excel or Microsoft Word to make tables and graphs? Okay. What happens when there's a number up at the top? There's a drop down, and you can choose how many points that line is for and how thick it is. That's the weight of the line. Okay, so we can see there's so many different, these are all done with different, just variations of lines. So if you look up here, this is the same design. This is done with a thin weight, this is done with a thick weight. It's just how hard you could be using your writing utensil. You can change writing utensils. You can use different types, but they're all done. And it's just a different thickness. So with parallel lines and with this line variation, there is something called hatching and cross hatching. That's how the lines cross together, okay? So we're gonna work on this exercise. So you're gonna go to exercise number 2. And we're gonna follow along with this video as you do this exercise, okay? This exercise is going to help explain to you cross-hatching. This is just step 1 of learning cross-hatching because you're only right now using a number 2 pencil. So I want you to have just the least amount of distractions as possible. So this is why I started you out. When you came in today, what did you start with? Some papers on your desk and a pencil. Then I gave you a notebook. So now we're starting to build our notebook and we're starting to build the information in our notebooks. Okay. At the end before the class actually ends, I have a present for all of you. Everybody's going to be getting their own art kit. Okay. Everybody will go home with an art kit today. But there are going to be some rules around the art kit. So we're going to want to talk about it. Okay. But we're building a foundation. Everything is built. Art is very simple to start. We started with what? The basic building block of a what? Of a what? Of a line. Just one line. That's all art is. We have to start with the basics. If I turned around and I came to you and I told you that I had wanted you to draw this, you would have thought I was crazy. And you probably still think that I'm crazy when I tell you that you guys are going to, by the end of the classes, it's not going to be as complicated as that, but everybody will be able to draw something like that. Wow. Everybody will be able to draw perspective and make something look like it's far away versus things that are up close. You're going to be able to put in shading so that this looks like a fence line. You're going to be able to make it look like this is a darker, this strip right here is a strip of maybe tile or a smooth piece of cement versus these pieces right here, which could be glass or it could be tiles. How are they done? They're done with parallel lines, which we've already talked about. They're done with shading, which we've already talked about. Okay? This is hatching. Look back here. This is shading. This is done with cross-hatching. That means that there's parallel lines going one way, but then there's parallel lines going the opposite way. That's how we got the shading in here. That's how we have shading over here in the fence line. There's some really, really tight cross-hatching going on right here in between each of the boards. But then there's just parallel lines to show the wood grain. And then there's some light cross-hatching here to show that some light coming through or some wood grain crosses. Look how complicated, when you look at this big complicated picture, how much simpler does this picture look now when we just talked about it? You break it down to simple elements. So that's what I want you to think about, is that I'm going to push you, like I said at the beginning of class. I'm gonna push you to your potential. I'm gonna push you, but I won't make you go there by yourself, okay? I'll be there to walk with you, all right? So this next exercise is to go over cross-hatching. It's an exercise that we're going to practice, and you're gonna see lots of this one video. We're gonna watch it in little pieces for the next few weeks, okay? Because there's lots of different exercises in it, but the first exercise is that we're gonna do is for cross-hatching. And this is how we're gonna start with the basics of shading.
Cross-hatching. Hatching is a great exercise to practice since this technique was used by the masters of the Renaissance and is also used by many artists of today. In case you're not familiar with cross-hatching, this is where you place a bunch of lines next to one another to create values. The further away you place the lines parallel to one another, the lighter the value, and the closer you place the lines together, the darker. In the previous exercise, we practiced drawing from the shoulder, and now we're switching gears to use our wrist to create these little hatches, and this will allow us to switch gears and introduce a different kind of muscle mobility. For this exercise, I recommend trying a variety of lines parallel to one another, and do your best to keep the same distance throughout. Then you can try crossing the other way throughout. Try some longer lines, and then try some little short ones.
You don't have to do it as fast as she is. She's giving you just a lot of information and
practice. Play around and get your hand using those gestures. Have some fun with it, use different art supplies, play around with different colors, and get acquainted on how the tips of each different art supply work. The only way you'll get comfortable with this and having your hand work in motions this way is if you practice and keep experimenting on your own. It'll take time to create these motions, and soon it becomes muscle memory. Here are some more examples of other lines and hatches you can practice, and to keep things interesting, I recommend switching up the art supplies as well as the kind of colors you use. These are some great basics to start with, but if you're interested in some more in-depth techniques, I have some over on my Patreon, including worksheets and exclusive videos.
Okay. So I thought that she does a really great job at showing you different ways. Kind of neat, isn't it? Yeah. To watch how she does those strokes. It's really hard for me to be able to try and show you if I'm writing on a whiteboard. It's hard for me to be able to show you all of those little movements. Using the videos, I find, especially with the way that she does it, she has it zoomed in so well that you can see. So for this exercise, you're working on your wrists, okay? You're working on using those wrist motions. Okay, we're doing things a little bit differently than what she does. We're gonna work on arm strokes next week. This week we're just working, I want you to just practice with the shading part of it, okay? This is a great thing to do when you're doodling, when you're trying to figure out what you wanna be doing, when you're trying to figure out what you wanna draw, when you are sitting and you're supposed to be, I'm going to say it even though the parents are here, but we all do it, especially me. I like to doodle when I was in class. I was always drawing on the sides of my papers. I'm always doodling. This is a good exercise because you're practicing, but yet you're not focused on drawing something specific. You're able to still pay attention to your teacher. Sorry, moms. We all draw. So this is a good exercise. You want to practice this as much as possible because do you see how many different ways, how quickly she was drawing all those different options for those cross hatches? We went over that a couple slides back. I showed you. These are all cross hatches. All of these designs. Here's parallel lines. There's cross hatching, but it's done in boxes. Here's hatching, where she's just using parallel lines, and they're all close. Some of them are closer together than others. This is cross hatching. This one, she goes this way. She goes this way. She goes this way and this way. Okay? This one, it's even tighter. It's the same picture, but just done with tighter lines. Okay? Here's this. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. It's all the same motion. This one added more to this. This one added even more than that. Okay? So this is something that you can practice, and I encourage you to practice because it's a great way to be able to add shading and depth to your pictures when you're doing pencil drawings, line drawings, even when you're using marker and you're trying to add. I don't like coloring with markers sometimes on some types of paper and coloring books because you color on it and you're trying to fill in that spot really well. How many people have colored and you're trying to fill in all of the little bumps and holes, and then what happens? The paper rips. I hate that. It makes me crazy. Here's a way that you can add solidness to your picture without actually having to fill it in and color it solid. Might save you some paper, huh? Might save the paper from ripping. And then you can add in different layers of colors this way. Okay? The next type of line we're going to talk about are contour lines. A contour line is a continuous line that defines the outline of a shape. They can exist inside and outside of a shape. And they're often referred to as line art. Look at those. Wow. Looks kind of cool, doesn't it?
I think I drew something.
How about that?
Is that a person?
That's you see a person?
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Whoa!
But that's also line art.
Wow!
Line art can also be a very simple drawing. This is leading into our next exercise that we're going to do. Okay? How many people need a quick break? It's 6:30 now. Does anybody need a quick break, or do we want to go a little longer before we take one? A little bit longer. Okay. All right. So the next thing that we're gonna start talking about is called continuous lines. How hard it's done? You put your pencil on the paper or your pen on the paper, and you start drawing, and you don't lift your pencil. You have to draw the whole picture without lifting your pencil. So this face was done without lifting the pencil. What a rose.
That's a little harder. That's easy.
What's the brain? So the next exercise is going to be a continuous line drawing. So you can watch how she does it, and then we're going to practice it. Okay. So to start, I want you just to focus for this video. I want you to focus on watching her. I want you to watch how she does it. And then we're gonna take 5 minutes after this, and we're gonna work on drawing our own continuous line drawing, okay? But I want you to pay attention to how she does it and what she's creating and how she comes back and forth to find her way to be able to go to the next step. I'm gonna do a little bit of talking and might pause the video while we're watching this one.
Exercise number 3. For this one, grab any pen or marker, and we will be doing a continuous line drawing. Continuous line drawings are drawings made with
So she's
one
just doing
line where you
squiggles.
do not lift the pen off the paper. This is great to practice for observation, and it builds a ton of confidence since we don't have
She's
any
adding
control over
shading.
thinking. The only objective is to not lift the pen off the paper. You'll begin to notice that although it's a challenge, you become more confident in the way you
Do you
place
see
your
how she's coming back and forth into
I
it?
personally love doing this exercise with a marker or a pen, since there is something daring
And
about
she's
that.
and
We
she's
can't erase
squiggling
after all.
inside.
In a way, we're problem solving here because we're thinking of ways we can position our hand to really observe our image. And we're studying our subject simultaneously.
So she
Making this
kept
another
squiggling
great
inside of here to be
exercise
able to get
add
down
the
to here.
variety and mix of drawing warm-ups. And here are some more figure studies where I applied the same technique. Although these were quick sketches, I realized I learned a lot.
These are all
That's why I'm
done.
sharing it with you today, and I hope it'll help you too.
Okay. So now we are going
Size
to
number.
do our own continuous line drawings. You don't have to draw a flower. You could try to draw what she just drew. Okay? I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and I want you, don't get frustrated. If you want to make something as simple as a few circles together, or you want to make hearts, and try to draw a few shapes all together. Okay? But just using one line. Yes. You can draw whatever you want, you just can't lift your pencil off the paper. No, you can do it. No, right on this part right here. Exercise number 3. So you're gonna put your pencil down on the paper. No, that's the challenge. The challenge is that you want to try. We're gonna put the pencil down and we're gonna draw without lifting the pencil off the paper. So back here on the backboard, while you are working on yours, I'm gonna draw my own. What do you think? Let's see. Well, I don't know.
That's literally the only one she ever texted me. I already went and I won't text her.
That doesn't look as bad as I thought it was. I like it, to be honest. I'm here to make it. Whoa!
So I don't know how much your schools go over it and use it, but how many people know how to write cursive? So if you know how to write cursive, then you already know how to do continuous line drawings. If you know how to do cursive, your continuous line drawings are just done with words. So if you look in the back, I made a silly, crazy, organic shape.
Organic?
It's organic, so there's a heart thing going on in
Right.
here, it's sort of a heart, and then I did squiggles on the outside, and then I made some sort of face looking thing
Oh,
here, and then I came down and I wrote, hello.
That's a continuous line.
The whole thing is done as a continuous line. So it doesn't need to make sense, it doesn't need to be a perfect picture. I purposely didn't make something that was a normal It wasn't a flower like she did. It wasn't a person like she did. It doesn't have to be anything real. It's just practicing and using your mind to go outside of the comfort zone of lifting the pencil. Right. Did you do it without lifting the pencil? Give me a high five. You told me you couldn't do it. You made a flower. I'm proud of you. What'd you make? Look at all the hearts. It looks like a heart person. That's really cool.
Kind of, to me, it kind of looks like
That's coming out beautiful.
heart first, and then we went like down. It kind of looks like a heart.
Lots of flowers. Look at how detailed these are. Hi. Give me the camera. I love it. But you try. It's only going to get better the more you practice. That's it. The more you practice it, the better it's going to get. Yes, it is. That's the girl's face. That's the first continuous line drawing. It looks awesome. Yes. Yes. I want to see everybody's, and I don't get a chance to walk around as much as I want to. But that's why I like to, at least when a page is finished, I want to come see all your great work. I love it. But you drew the eye without lifting the pencil? That looks really cool. Lips? That's great. I love it. I love it. These are good. These are really good. That's cool. Yeah, it reminds me of a carnation. Very nice. Very nice. Did you draw that without lifting, or did you do that for cross hatching? You did that one without lifting. That page is down. That's awesome. I did it. Look how awesome. Good job. You made a house without lifting your pencil. See? Isn't it kind of cool? How many people thought that it was the craziest thing that you couldn't do it, that you couldn't make something? See? I promise you, I'm not going to send you out to do anything without giving you a little bit of guidance. But I promise if you try, you'll be able to do it. Another type of line is called a gesture line. Gesture lines are quick, continuous lines versus a continuous line, which is all done without lifting your pencil that we just did. Lines are done short, quick little. So you'll see there is this woman. Okay, this woman is from the back. And you can see she's got her arms up, she's got her torso, she's got her legs, right? Here's a little piece of her head. And we have a little dot, that's sort of where her hair is. Here's her shoulders, her arms, her back, her butt, and her legs. If you saw this picture, would you be able to tell that that was a person?
Yeah.
That's a gesture drawing. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Go ahead and get up, go use the restroom, and then when we come back, we're going to start talking about the next part of lines, which are shapes. Yes. The bathroom is down the hallway. It's the second door on the left, I think. Yes. You're going to write your name on it first. Yep. Oh, yeah, you did. You wrote your name, and then